This glass child. They're just gonna see me pour this glass child.
Well, we live now, so they see it. Okay.
Oh shit,
It don't matter.
girl.
It don't matter. I got like two. I got like two bottles on the side of me. They just don't see it.
Is
But we live.
your other guests? Were they backstage or they were
She gonna come in about 7 minutes. I just text her. I told her that the first 10 minutes, me and you gonna be, doing our thing. Then we're gonna come in.
okay, cute.
Mhm. Yeah. So, what's up, y'all? This is episode 2, the official episode of the Prelude with me and my
Jamardi
boy.
4.
And we're here to talk some real shit tonight. We're not talking about nothing that's going on in the news. We ain't talking about no pop
I
culture
can't. I
tonight.
could not.
We're not. And we're gonna let it's like 3 y'all in here right now, but
I
we
could
gotta
not
let
talk
you
about.
get in. But we decided to talk about something that we've both been having issues with for a while now. Okay. And we both have our own stories to tell. And of course we got a special guest, Queen Lovely Lee, and I know we both know her as Aaliyah at this point. So she's gonna be in here for in about 6 minutes. So give her some time. She'll be in here for 6 minutes. But yeah, so I told y'all we're gonna do these live streams as much as we possibly can. It depends on our schedules and everything like that. And we gonna get it in. So what you looking forward to tonight, Jamar? Because I am
Baby,
mentally preparing myself for this one.
first of all, I want y'all to know that a bitch started getting ready for this. Because mind you, this is 7 o'clock my time. So it's 9 o'clock most of the times if anybody else is outside the West Coast. It's 7 o'clock my time. I started preparing for this shit at like 4:30.
Damn, I'm still at work.
Okay, I started preparing for this shit at 4:30. I moisturized. Okay, I primed. I beat. I put on this body. I put on all my titties. I put on my ass, and I put on these nails so
I
that
didn't know.
we could
I
talk
didn't know
about.
you had ass on now. I didn't know you did
Uh,
that.
you know what? Later on, I will stand up. I will push the camera back so they can get a full view because she paid for this custom gown. Amen. So we
now
go.
tell the people.
Hello.
Now,
So,
yeah.
but I did it because it was pertinent to the conversation with drag and female impersonation being a hobby of mine. It plays this part in the topic of me seeking, dating, and finding male partners and their perception of what the art of female impersonation is. So I felt like it was very relevant. So I wanted to look the part so that when I reference it, there's a visual uh, to it. So I'm really excited. I have no idea how this is going to go,
That's why we both got drinks.
but hello.
That's why we both got drinks at this point. Cause we're gonna need them, okay? Like I have had like an emotional past week and a half talking about this same shit, and I think that last week Jamar decided that this would be a good topic to touch on, and it's a departure from everything that we got going on right now because when we went live when we went live on Thursday, we touched on this already. We touched on the protesting and all of the racial stuff last week. So we decided that we wanted to take a break from that, just at least just for this time. Take a break from that and talk about something else because this is already draining me already. It's already
Very
draining.
much so. I like over the weekend.
Mm.
I y'all don't need me to tell you how heavy a lot of the posts were, a lot of the videos, footage, tweets, Instagram posts, and stories. Like you don't need me to know. You can see it without looking. it was very heavy, and especially here, like even in my city of Los Angeles. Hold on, let me. I'm constantly adjusting this goddamn camera, child. I know this is the ghetto, but even here in the city of Los Angeles, like a lot of the rallies and protests are happening like
What the hell do you got going on over there?
right outside my door. As I was about to tell you, it's happening right outside. You know, within like, because I'm like right off of Melrose Avenue, so Melrose uh, crosses a lot of main streets in like the main city of Los Angeles. So a lot of what's happening is happening blocks away from here.
Hmm.
So
Ain't it? Kind of.
it's very like I've struggled with how to feel. And of course, I'm outraged. Of course, I feel angry. Of course, I feel anxiety. I feel pain. But at the same time, like, you know what it is? I think it's very just inconvenient that this is happening during the time of a pandemic because we can't really gather and move and, you know, push forward like in these large groups like we want to because of the fact that it's dangerous right now. Like, some, like, my roommate just told me like the grocery store is like 2 blocks away from us. Somebody
Mhm.
just tested for COVID-19.
Damn.
2 blocks away.
Shout out to Tay. Thank hey, best friend. Remember you met him when we was in Houston?
Dontavius?
Yeah. He kept talking about the guy in the blue hat.
Oh, how you doing, boo? Child, he don't remember me now because I look completely different.
Oh, he remembers you.
But
He does.
but yeah, like it's just been a really rough like 48 hours. And even though we're taking a break from that, we're still deep diving, or at least when I planned this episode with Scotty, I had it in the intention that it would be somewhat of a deep dive. We're about to try to get like really Yanla on y'all asses. Because I know for me, with dating,
Oh, before you even continue, Aaliyah is here
it
now. So
can
I'm right.
it's gonna now mind
Right.
you, listen, I'm not I put this on to portray a classy bitch, but I'm about to sit here and adjust my titty while Scotty talk.
I'm gonna bring Aaliyah in because she just came in backstage. So I'm about to bring her in now. So without further ado, let's bring our friend. So Aaliyah, let's bring her on up in here. Hey, friend of the
Hi.
show.
I feel like I'm on the View and you Whoopi
Why I gotta be whoopee? I do
because
kind
What's
of
she
give.
up, bitch?
introduces you was like without further ado, let's bring out
Well,
Aaliyah.
Whoopi is my bitch now, so I do kind of give a bit of Whoopi sometime. I can take it. I can take it. I can take it.
Okay.
But
Well,
we
good
have our
evening,
very
everyone. Good
own,
evening.
we have our very only young up in this bitch.
Bitch, I feel like this light is sending me shade. Hold on, let me turn her down.
And let me tell
Cause bitch,
you,
we can go all the way here, bitch. We can turn full Caucasian.
listen, I'm gonna tell you one thing, Aaliyah. Me and him got drinks and shit.
Y'all
We
got
finna be,
drinks?
yes, we
I
got
took
some
a
Hennessy
sip.
over
It's
there.
hot, so I'm not trying to be sweating. Okay, you got the Hennessy. I got some Bacardi Black.
Okay,
Well,
amen.
I ain't got nothing that heavy now. Shout out to K. Shit.
Ooh,
Shout out
that's
to K.
so ratchet, Lord. Why y'all let me come up on here and just?
Shout out to K.
I'm not acting like how I'm looking.
Oh, come on. Let's not. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. Okay. So
Okay.
if most of you guys are in here, y'all been watching me for a while now. Y'all know I'm very open about my life, probably a bit too open about my fucking life sometimes, but that's just how I am. And I've been very open about my love life. Jamar has not been that open about his on YouTube, but tonight he will be open about it. Tonight, okay? We're about to be very open tonight. Aaliyah has heard me talk rant and rave about this trash bag of love like I got. So we're gonna start it off. Jamar, oh, and Aaliyah's here to mediation, pretty much. Like she's a spiritual advisor, she's a therapist, she's all of that in the above. You know, she's my spiritual advisor, all that other shit, and she's great for this type of dialogue. So, you want to start?
Before we continue, hold on, real quick. Before we continue, is there some? I hear something like I hear a feedback, like there's something rattling against the
Yeah, I hear
microphone.
that
Y'all hear that?
too.
Yeah, I hear it. Hold up. Let me put one of you on mute, and then we'll figure it out. Hold on.
Is it me?
Hold up. Okay. You guys still here?
When you put him on mute, I didn't hear it.
That's you,
What the
Jamar.
fuck?
You
Hold
may
on,
have
let me.
you may have to go out and come back in.
But if it was me, why do I hear it though?
Well,
We
mute
all
me. See, mute me and see if it's me.
okay. Hold on.
Okay, so now I don't hear it.
Okay. Okay. Aaliyah is unmuted now. I don't hear it.
N-
Okay.
Child.
Let's just go ahead. It's going to happen because both of y'all on.
It
I don't know
sounds
what
like
to
when you talk, like that's when you hear it. Like I don't hear it right now while I'm talking.
same.
Hmm.
This think it's you, Scotty.
It's when you talk, beast.
Yeah.
No, it cannot be me. No, ma'am.
Taurus moon, it's you.
But I don't hear it over here, though. Listen, I ain't got time to be arguing
Ask
with
the
y'all.
chat if they can hear it.
I mean, if it
Can y'all?
doesn't bother them, then that's
Right.
fine. But I was
It's
just
fine.
like, ooh, I
Right.
hear it, and I didn't want it to be like a distraction.
Right.
Because this about to be, we setting the stage. We about to go there tonight.
Go
So let's
there,
go.
Kelly.
We about to go there tonight. Okay,
Okay.
somebody said it sounds like static.
Does it sound
Kendra.
like sex for everybody?
Or said we need to hear like what does it sound like to y'all? Like is it distracting or do we need to fix it or are we cool with
I'm
when
used to it because when I used to like when I was on when I was would do the stuff with the Justice League panel and I was on my cell phone, it would be me making up all the noise when I was on my
Yeah,
cell
it said
phone.
that when you talk, they said they can't hear you when you talk.
listen and I'm glitching?
They say it sounds like
It
a
sounds like
rattle.
a rattling.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what it sounds
Scotty.
like there's something muffling against the okay, so here, now that she's gone, tell us now, do y'all hear anything? Okay, so Ramon Harper says that we're good, I think. So Ramon, are you saying that me and Scotty like right now? Because right now I don't hear it.
And let me tell my they said something about my volume too. My volume may be too loud.
I can hear you fine now.
Okay. I just turned my volume down some.
Yeah, see, Kendra said, I'm good now. So
So,
Michelle, my bell says we're good. Kendra is asking you to say something. I can hear you fine now.
yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna bring Aaliyah back in here now.
Okay. Okay, see now the sound is fine. So it might be something with Aaliyah's microphone. Maybe she had like something rubbing it. It sounded like something was rubbing against it. honestly.
And I don't have any earphones, so that could be why I sound
I
the way
don't
I do.
either.
Oh, I don't have any earphones and plus I'm at a computer too, so that could be why. I don't know. But let me add Leah back in. Okay,
Is it good now?
I don't hear nothing. So
Okay, say something, baby.
it's like
Something.
some people are saying the sound is fine. My friend Tay said the sound is fine.
I hear
Um,
it when you talk, Scotty.
when I talk,
See,
let me
it's
go
you
out
because it's like when it sounds. Oh God, this is so ghetto.
and I'm gonna go out and
So, like, is your oh shit? Okay, so now I don't hear it. Wait,
But
hold
I
on.
don't I hear it. Do you
I
hear it when
hear
you
it
talk?
slightly, and so when it was me and Scotty, I didn't. Do you have your phone propped on anything by chance?
Can you
pull.
hear it now?
Okay, I don't hear it now.
I think it was I just turned my volume down. I think we good now.
Okay,
Can
Okay,
y'all
so we're
hear
good
it?
now.
Are we good?
Right now, I don't hear anything.
Okay.
but it may not. But just like Gatsby TV said, it may not be us. It could be a StreamYard issue. Next time I'm doing this shit on Zoom. I ain't got time for all this.
Okay, let's start. Let's start.
Okay,
Okay, so
child, we done
I'm
already
gonna go
did
out.
about 20 minutes doing technical difficulties, child.
It want to do technical on this night. It want to do technical difficulties. Like, but let's go ahead,
Huh?
Jamar. Go ahead. I said on this night, it want to do tech issues.
Child, because we was perfectly fine last time, child.
Okay, they said it's
Right.
good now. They said it's good.
Okay, so go ahead, Jamar. I'm gonna let you start off because I'm always the one talking too much. So you start off.
I mean, I really okay. So I want to set the premise of it, and I don't know if I said it because we have maybe about 10 or 15 people that joined since then. So tonight we're avoiding like if you came here with the intention of talking about what's going on with the world and the looting and the rioting, we're taking a break from that. We don't want it to make it seem like we're being tone deaf. We're not being insensitive about what's going on. I know for me, I like over the weekend I got so bombarded with so many videos, so many clips, so much news. Like there was someone who was unarmed and killed as of this morning
Yes.
in
For
Louisville,
real?
Kentucky. At least as I heard. I don't know if there was someone else
Yes.
in yes. Louisville, Kentucky, he was left, his body was in the street for 12 hours.
Mm.
Damn.
But I wanted to take a break from that. I don't want to be insensitive about that. I want it to still be acknowledged. I don't want it to be looked at like that. But I did have the intent on this week, because me and Sky talked about this last week. I wanted this week to be talking about and focus on relationships, past relationships, different stories that we can tell, and just dating experiences, dating insecurities, issues that we may have had during dating, and how it's affected us, how we've sort of progressed and moved forward. So I know that I have my take, but I didn't want to go first
Well, I'll go first then if you want.
because
Okay, I'll go
it's
first.
gonna be a lot for me. It's gonna be a lot for me. It's gonna be a lot to unpack.
Okay, so you want me to go
Because I
first?
wanted to look this way for a reason.
Hmm.
So go ahead, Scotty.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off by saying, and this is probably gonna be a heavy way to start off, and it's my way of admitting to the fuckery, and I'm gonna say this. I want to say that I am in emotional rehab, and the emotional rehab is me being having an addiction to toxicity. That's what I think my issue is. I'm addicted to toxic. relationships. And it's kind of like when, for example, maybe about 3 years ago, I dated this older man. He was in his like early 40s, he had a kid, all of that. But he was, he was very experienced in life. So that's probably one thing that he had up, and he knew exactly what he wanted. I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to a man that had it all together, knew what he wanted, knew exactly what I needed, and all of that stuff. And I think I was intimidated by that because I wasn't used to it. All I knew was the same fuck boys. That's all I knew. All I knew is how to change somebody, or all I knew is how to try to help somebody or build somebody up. But this was somebody that was already built up. He didn't need to be built up. And I ran away from him because it became it's not like he did anything wrong. Let's just make it clear. He didn't do nothing wrong. I ran away because I wasn't used to that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't used to a guy that knew exactly what it was he wanted. I wasn't used to a guy that had it all mapped out. And it's like soon after I walked away from him, I went right into what I knew best, a toxic relationship from someone in the past. And then when that was over, I walked myself into yet another toxic relationship. And I kind of made myself believe that I was happy in it. That's all I could talk about was that. Like I made myself believe that I was happy, but in hindsight, I'm like, it's like when I go back to the older guy, it's kind of like because he was doing everything right, it felt like it was too good to be true. So I just knew that it was gonna be some bullshit down the line, and I got scared. But then I leave him and go talk to other people, and I know they ain't right. I can see they ain't right. The red flags are right in front of my face. I know exactly what I got. I know exactly what I'm dealing with, but yet I still decide to stay there. And that's dumb in a sense. It's kind of like I think I'm so used to the whole. That's why I'm saying I think I'm in emotional rehab because I'm used to being addicted to toxic relationships. And I feel like me being so adapted to toxicity is going to make me be a toxic person. And I don't want to be a toxic person for anyone, not my friends, not my family, not nobody. And it's like, I'm always ready to build somebody up in a relationship. I'm always ready to build them up, always ready to help them out, always ready to see them through things. But I don't get the same thing in return, but I still choose to date these type of men. So it's like I be seeing it, I be knowing it, I see it. It be red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag, and I choose to ignore it every time. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I want to open it up. That's why I say I'm in emotional rehab because I'm trying to cleanse myself of all of the toxic men that I decided to um take in.
Well, I feel like in order for you to cleanse yourself of that behavioral pattern, you have to go back to source. You have to really go inward and ask yourself, when was the first time that you became complacent or comfortable being uncomfortable, or being in a relationship dynamic, not even a romantic relationship dynamic. It could be a friend dynamic, it could be a co-worker dynamic, it could be a family dynamic, where you know that you were not getting equal reciprocity, you know that you were not being treated fairly, you know that you were not being honored or valued, but you put up with it. And especially when it comes to family dynamics, and like we go back to the root, like our childhood, a lot of times we're not able, especially being black. people and growing up in a black household, a traditional black household, where a lot of us are raised that you don't ask questions, you don't speak your mind, you're not allowed to complain, you're not allowed to have a voice. If you don't pay no bills in this house, when you get your house and pay your bills, then you can do what you want. You know, all the cliche sayings. We become very complacent and used to having our voices suppressed. And then to add insult to injury, when we go to school, when we go to work, whatever the case may be, because we live in the country we live in, especially with all of the race relations and stuff, we're constantly having our voice suppressed. And you being a black man, that's a strike. And then you being a gay black man, that's another strike to society. So it's like there's been a foundation already laid for you to always have to alter and shape shift and kind of bring it down a notch to make everyone around you feel comfortable and dim your light. And I feel like it shows up in your romantic relationship patterns where you feel like you always have to dim yourself down because that's what was introduced to you from so early on.
Oh,
And you
wait.
know what? To piggyback on what she mentioned, I feel like because we were being raised as black men, we're raised to be strong, we're raised to
Mm-hmm.
be resilient, we're raised to honestly sow your wild oats. And I grew up with a father who constantly asked me, what kind of girls do you like? Like, what kind of, like, what kind of women do you see, in your school or on campus? Or like, what kind of women are you into? Like, him trying to engage with me on that level that a heterosexual male would probably engage with their father. And I was not able to engage him in that way. And it created like an awkward barrier between my father and I, and I didn't know how to for a long time. Eventually, I came, around to how to sort of navigate that conversation. But for a long time, I didn't know how to sort of navigate that. I sort of just kind of played it off. I uh, bought time. I tried to, make up excuses. But I feel like we're raised to sort of be these aggressive, members of society, being strong, because that's how. I mean, even though we sort of criticize how the America views us as being these strong, sexualized creatures, like we're raised to sort of be that as well in our own communities. Like we want to look at our physique, we want to look at our masculinity, we check that at the door everywhere that we go to, you
Right.
know um, we our parents sort of do. I feel like our parents sort of put us in, they try to raise us a certain way because they feel like this will prepare us for the world
Yeah.
without knowing how potentially toxic it was.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think
but
with parents, it's a situation like when I was growing up, this is what I wish my parents would have prepared me for. This is what I wish my parents would have told me. And then they have a kid and they don't mean to do this, but they're projecting their childhood trauma into you by giving you what they wish they would have had. And this is a different child. What your
Mhm.
child needs and wants is going to be different from what you need and what you want. And I also feel like once again, you two being black men, okay, it could also be a situation where your parents are raising you to make it as easy as possible because they know when you go out into the world it's going to be hard either way you slice it or dice it.
I mean,
And see,
absolutely.
Intuitively I pick up that your father could have very much so been aware that you did not prefer girls, but he didn't know how to process that. So it was a thing like, well, let me just constantly ask him what type of women do he like, what type of girls does he like, in hopes that like he doesn't have to confront what he doesn't want to confront about his son's sexuality.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like like you said, it's kind of like a defense mechanism. Like he's trying
Mhm.
to prepare us because, like, if we think about the generation before us as Black people dealt through probably the one of the roughest versions of it. Of course, the generation before them, dealt with the ramifications of slavery and things of that nature, but they went through Jim Crow and, of course, segregation. Whereas we were most of us so lucky as to not experience, at least to the level that they were, but
Right.
because they experienced that, they wanted to train us as their children to sort of navigate the world, knowing who we were, knowing how we can find value, knowing how we can find strength and confidence in who we were as Black people, because a lot of society will not look at us the same way that our own communities would look at us. And I feel like along those lines, I feel like even though there's good intent in what a lot of majority of Black families try to do, or this isn't even just like Black families, I feel like this is just like people of color in general. um they try to prepare us so much that they sort of along the way forget to acknowledge who we are as people. And when they see us as people who are traditionally have feminine traits, or they see us as someone who may have something that might be considered just the umbrella of queer, they try to deter us away from that, not necessarily 100% out of bigotry, but out of protection. Like I might be able to accept you, I might be able to understand what it
Mhm.
is that you're experiencing, what it is that you're going through, but once you enter the world, I can't always protect you.
Right.
So I want you to at least try to govern yourself in a way that where you will be safe, to where I don't have to worry about you as my child. And I feel like that's the basis of like a lot of what parents are trying to do, but because they may not have the training, they don't have the same knowledge. A lot of people, they haven't shared that same experience
It's
of going
so
through
many
raising a child.
it's
Yes.
so many layers to what you just said, because I'm a very spiritual person. Like, this is who I am 24/7. It's not a costume I put on and then, like, when I'm not on social media, I'm like, no, this is who I am, is who I am. I always say spirituality is about having awareness of self, being aware of who you are and how you show up in the world. And I don't have kids. I don't know what it's like to have a child, because I think what happens with parents is you have a child and you have all these expectations and hopes and dreams and whatnot. And when this child grows to be their own individual being, and they're not what you expected them to be or what you wanted them to be, it's like your ego comes into play, because now you really have, this is the true test of being a mom. This is the true test of being a dad. Like, yes, you gave this person life, but you have to allow this person to navigate in their own individuality. Like,
Mm,
I feel like our generation um is going to change the way parenting is, because I just feel like with social media, and because we're so much more progressive as a generation, when we have children, it's just we're gonna maneuver differently. There's gonna be so many other conversations in the mix. Um, and I just feel like in the Black community, there's so many things like mental health. Nobody wants to go to the therapist. Like, our parents, they don't believe in therapy. That's white people stuff. And then it's the homophobia. Like, I feel like with our generation, we're more open to say, yeah, I feel depressed, I'm anxious, I have bipolar disorder, I do go to therapy. Yeah, I am non-binary, I am transgender, I am lesbian, whatever the case. Like, I just feel like we're in a more progressive time, so I would like to hope that when we do have kids and we're giving birth to the next generation, or we're being teachers or mentors, it just shows up differently. Like, we're learning from the choices that our parents made. They do the best that they can with what they have to work with. The stuff that we have to work with, the tools, the support, they didn't have that. So they did what they felt was best.
And to piggyback off what you said to me, once I stopped saying what I was saying, as far as like it can go back to my childhood. When I was growing up, and I've said this before on camera, when I was growing up, I grew up around domestic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
My stepfather was abusive. Sometimes he'll go overboard with the shit. You know what I'm saying? And he was in my life from when I was 4 years old all the way till I was like 26, 27. So that's all my life pretty much. You know, it was kind of like, um, I guess I watched my mom deal with that for so long, for all my life. And I just, and sometimes I sit back and I wonder, like, because I watched that for so long, is that why I find myself approaching men the same way? Like, abuse doesn't necessarily have to be physical abuse. It could be manipulation. It could be mental. It could be
Yep.
all sorts of things. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the times, like when I think about my childhood, I wouldn't say that my childhood was completely rough. I won't say that, but it did have moments where it's questionable. Like I did grow up watching my mom get abused. I did grow up getting bullied in school and wanted so desperately to fit in and wanted so desperately for people to be my friend. You know what I mean? And I always felt like I was by myself. I always felt like I was alone. Although I had a sibling in the house with me, I always felt like I was by myself. So a lot of the times I cut myself off because I felt like nobody really understood me. It's like, which is why I got into writing. My imagination was so big, and that's the reason why I turned to writing and creating different stories in my head. I think that's probably why, because I spent so much time by myself, and then music was my savior too. When I didn't know how to communicate my feelings, I just listened to a song that I related to. Or there
Mm-hmm.
were times that I would say at the age of 11 and 12 that I'm depressed or I want to kill myself. People wouldn't listen to me. They'll say, I'm looking for attention, or they say ain't nothing wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
or like I constantly get the door shut in my face whenever I want to express myself. So as an adult, when I go through stuff, my friends, and some of them are in here, get very agitated with me. I don't open up, but at the same time, it's kind of like I'm used to. I think I've been programmed to not open up because when I open up, nobody, I feel like nobody wants to hear me, or
That's how I was
yeah,
as well.
nobody wants to hear me.
I'll never forget when I was like 15, I was home and I don't know what led up to it because I lived in a very like same thing, grew up in a house with a lot of domestic disputes. Like the cops was always being called to the house all the time. And I just remember one day I started crying and hitting the floor, and my mother walked over to me and said, "You look so stupid. Stay down there." That's what she said to me. So I completely understand, like when you're trying to open up and express yourself, and your own parents or like your family members or whoever's your guardian is diminishing how you feel. And to be honest, that's just them projecting because in their childhood or somewhere in their life, when they wanted to speak or when they tried, people brushed them off. So it's
And
it's a projection.
that's exactly what my mother would say. She says it to this day. She's in her mid 50s now, and she would
Hmm.
say when she was growing up, when she would try to express herself, it's kind of like, "Oh, ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with
Hmm.
you." But yet, when I was coming up, no disrespect, but you kind of did the same thing to me. It's kind of like you wasn't trying, you didn't know you were doing it, but you were doing it. And I know that when we went to therapy, me and her, I acknowledged it, and she
Hmm.
cried. And of course, I sat there like, but
And I feel like it's true. It's like I think Aaliyah touched on it before. Like we as a culture, as Black people, associate therapy and mental illness with white people.
Yep.
So whenever we have something that actually involves mental illness or some sort of therapy, we dismiss it as, oh girl, it's just gas. You're just having, a phase. Like we don't believe that there are such things as mental illness or us needing to have like therapy to sort of sort through shit. But I am glad, at least to me, it seems like in recent between like 2 to 3 years that therapy amongst the Black community is becoming a lot more prevalent. We're becoming a lot more. We have a lot more access to it.
Yes.
It's becoming less taboo, and I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot more people are sort of sorting through a lot of past damage, um, just trauma, a lot of things that we don't really approach and sort of access
Right.
as people, because we brush a lot of things under the rug. We really do, and I feel
Yeah.
like it's us trying to showcase resilience, strength, prosperity, like all of this stuff that we're trying to get our ancestors before us told us, like you can't show any weakness.
Mm-mm.
You have to be twice as strong. You have to be twice as fast, twice as smart. You have to be a superhuman to even compete and be viewed as somewhat of an
And
equal.
that has been my goal of 2020, to stop what's that word? Basically subscribing to that narrative, especially as a Black woman. Like Taraji P. Henson said, the strong Black woman is a myth. You know what I mean? The reason why we got that title or that phrase to be the strong Black woman is because we had no choice as a Black woman but to be strong. The war on crime, the war on drugs, slavery, they've been cutting our family dynamics and leaving us to raise the children and work all these damn jobs to make sure everything is okay. And to come back to Scotty's point, you know, maybe with your mom, her thing is like, okay, this man is coming into life and he's coming into our life and he's willing to help me with my children and help me raise these kids and be a provider. Or she just wants to have that compassion, because as women, even if the man is not good emotionally and mentally, it's just good to know that you have a man there, because that's not something, unfortunately, that's very common. And it happened at the expense of you being her child. You know what I mean? Or it's a situation where it's like, when you do go to your parents, like with my mom, and you're trying to talk and have a soft moment, mom, I feel depressed, I feel suicidal. She tired from working all day. She been chasing your little siblings around if you the oldest or you the middle child, okay? She been working. She doesn't have time to sit there and listen to you because she feels like nobody has time to sit there and listen to her. It's just the cycle of trauma.
And my mother, with her, that was a cycle. Her getting into an abusive relationship, her mother was abusive to her. She wasn't raised by her mom. She was raised by her
The
grandmother.
cycle.
Yeah, she was
Mm-hmm.
raised by her grandmother from 6 weeks up. So when my mother would go to Chicago in the summertime to visit her mom would beat her ass.
I'll be
And
right back, y'all. Keep going.
okay, I'm not talking about like with a switch or a bell. I'm talking about
Mm.
like treat her like a woman off the street.
Right.
So that's all she knew. You know what I mean? Growing up, that's all she knew was abuse. So why wouldn't she go into an abusive relationship and thinking that is love when it's really not? Because when she was growing up and she would tell people, okay, my mother is beating on me, she's abusing me. Oh, well, that's your mom. You're supposed to love your mom. That's your mom. That's your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what she was programmed to believe, that when
Yep.
a person, some people are like that. People think that if a person hits you, they love you, and that's really crazy because I
Listen,
don't
my
believe it.
mother's in a abusive relationship as we speak. I don't have a relationship. with my mom. Those that are familiar with my YouTube channel, Melanated Crowns, that I have now, and even my previous YouTube channel, I've always been very candid about the type of relationship that I've had with my mom. And she has been very emotionally and mentally abusive towards me. But
Mhm.
she comes from a long line of being sexually abused as a child and mentally abused and emotionally abused. So even though my mom is in her 50s as well, I have to treat her like a teenager. And what I mean by that, that doesn't mean that I'm condescending to her. That doesn't mean I'm disrespectful. I still acknowledge she's my mom, but I just have to disengage because I don't play with kids. That's just how I think. So it's like when you get on the phone and you start spreading toxicity or you trying to rope me into your mess, okay, mom, I gotta go. I love you. Bye. Because I'm trying to protect my peace. You know what I
And
mean?
another thing, and another thing too. Um, Before my youngest brother came, because we're 11 years apart, a big ass gap.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did not have the best relationships with my siblings. So it's kind of like when I go out into the world and I meet people, like some of my friends are in this chat right now. Some of them have already said something. I really, I don't look at them as my friends. Like I really look at them like they're my sisters and my brothers, or even with some of my close cousins. I don't look at them like cousins. Like I kind of run to them like they're my siblings because for a long time I would feel like I was alone. Although I had my sister at home, and then I had like four other siblings, I would always feel like I was by myself. So being that I felt like I was by myself so much, I would be cold to people. I wouldn't try because I'm telling you, when I was a teenager, I was a motherfucker. I had the worst attitude. People think my attitude is bad now. It's actually a big, it's actually a big step up from what it was before. Like I
We
had the worst.
know. We
I
know.
was cold. I was defensive all the time. Still can be defensive sometimes. But back then, I was shut up. I was very defensive. And, it was hard for people to break their wall down. And just like my friend Tay, that's in here, I think he's still in here. When we became friends and then we had the other four guys that's in our group, it just felt like I don't look at that as a friendship. I look at that as a brotherhood in a sense. Cause like
Mm-hmm.
we will argue sometimes or we'll have disagreements, but at the same time they motivate me to do what I'm doing. Or just like my friends Jasmine and Rudy and all of them that's in here. They all push me to do what I'm doing now. Like when I told them that me and Jamar was doing the podcast, all of them, including my guy friends, all of those girls, they all pushed me to do this. My cousins, they all pushed me to do this. I have a lot of support from people,
Mm-hmm.
but some of that support isn't from. Sometimes I don't feel like. Sometimes you be looking for support from people that you feel like should support you because you support them all the time, but they don't do the same. And
Ooh,
some,
child.
and because I'm the person that because I'm a person that when I love a person as a friend, I love them, and I go hard for you. Like I'm not always the most boisterous one. There are people that are way more boisterous than I am. Trust me. But when I call you my friend, I really call you my friend. I do anything for you. And it's like once I feel like you've betrayed me or you crossed the line with me, it's kind of like you're dead to me pretty much. Like I'm accused of holding grudges. And I would vehemently deny that I hold grudges, but I know in my spirit that I do. But I don't want to admit that I do.
I want to ask Scott. I want to ask you a question
Okay.
because I feel like we're on the same page.
Okay.
Do you hold grudges because you and I are more like a more gentle souls? So do
Mhm.
you hold grudges because you feel like I am giving you such a softness. I'm giving you such I'm being so genuine with you. I'm being so loving, open, honest, and upfront with you about my feelings. I'm helping you directly when there's no benefit to me other than seeing you happy. And
Yes.
so, with that being the case, for you to go behind my back and betray me
Mhm.
is inexcusable. There's no
Mhm.
reason. I did nothing to you. There's nothing for me to gain from helping you. So there's no type of malice associated with me doing what I did for you. So
Mhm.
I can't understand why you would do the things that you did to me.
That's
And
exactly
that's
what it.
why I hold a grudge against you.
He
That's
holds a
exactly.
grudge because he's a Taurus moon and they're grudge holder. No, let me stop.
So you're petty.
Because this is Candy Burris Jr.
I'm gonna ignore her right now. But hey, Sammy and Robert, those are my other friends in here that I mentioned. Um, I'm gonna ignore Aaliyah right now because I don't have time. But um, I agree. That's exactly what it is, Jamar. I give my all to people, like my all to people. And when I really care about people, I really care. Like I try my best to to be there for people. So when I feel like when someone does something to me, they really fucks with me sometimes. And like when it fucks with me, I instantly cut them off like, and I act like, and I go into saying my favorite phrase. They're dead to me. I don't know them. All this other stuff. So, and I don't say it to be mean, but I'm saying it because that's really how I feel at that moment. Like if I know I'm giving my all to a situation and I'm really being genuine to you, and I'm like when I let people into my world, like I feel like when I let you into my space, my world, um, it's like when you do something to me, it fucks with me. So when people like, that girl right there with the big earrings on that just tried to come for me a minute ago, when people like that
Here we
say,
go.
when people like that say, well, why don't you talk to them or why don't you have a conversation with them or forgiveness is for you or whatever, even though what they're saying is absolutely true, I don't want to hear it.
But let me
Because,
say this. Let me say this. I feel like we have to get in the habit of understanding that multiple truths can coexist. So while your feelings are valid to be hurt because there was a lack of reciprocity, there was some betrayal, you was taken advantage of, somebody gave you their ass to kiss, it's also good to get the perspective of the other person, not to give them a second chance, but to give yourself closure. So if even if it's a thing where you just write somebody a letter, but you don't give it to them and you burn it, you let that out. Or if you send them a text message and say, "This is how I feel," and they respond, yeah, in a perfect world, it would be nice if the person would be like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I was not a good friend. I was not a good cousin. I was not a good mom. I was not a good dad. I would suggest and encourage that when you do have those complicated conversations with people and you hold them accountable, that you don't go in with an expectation that they're going to be in a position to be held accountable. I just went through this with a cousin of mine, okay? She is an Aquarius to the bone, emotionally detached, okay, if you will, okay? Emotionally detached.
I
And
feel
it's
attacked.
always been a type of a situation between us where I'm an excellent cousin. I text her, I call her. She don't text or call me. And this is the thing. I'm someone where I'm like, I understand everyone does not like to communicate. Everyone does not like to text. Everyone does not like to talk on the phone. I do have those friends where we could go months without talking and I don't take it personal because I've learned your communication style and we already set those boundaries, okay? Some people are high maintenance friends, some people are low maintenance friends. My thing is just let me know what it is up front so I can move accordingly, okay? With her, she'll be on social media, keep keying, but she's not responding to my text. She's not answering my calls. And I respectfully explained that to her. And she didn't want to be held accountable. And as a result, we no longer talk to each other. But I'm at a space, and it took me a long time to get here because I used to be someone that, no, when I come to you and tell you what you did to disrespect me, you need to say, I'm sorry. You need to say I was wrong. But the reality is you're you're not always going to get that. You're just not. And I had to learn that through dealing with my parents. My mother, okay, my mother who gave birth to me, the worst thing that she has ever said to me, okay, and I'm going to be very transparent, is I wish you was never born. You're a disgrace. You're a piece of shit. Until this day, she will not acknowledge it. She will not own it. She will not apologize for it. But I had to learn how to move forward, not move on, because there really are some things in life that you'll never move on from. But for my sanity and my peace in my life, I had to learn how to move forward. And that was one of the, and it's something I still deal with because even though I'm like, okay, I probably will never get an apology from her, I've learned better to cope with it. And it's helped me with other people because people are just always going to disappoint you. That it's just the truth. Everyone is just not going to live up to your
Mm.
expectations and to your standards. It just is what it is.
I think that, and I said
Woo,
this on,
child.
I told you she was good for this.
Let
Um,
us wait. Hold on, but before you continue, I want you to hold on to that thought, Scott. I want you to hold on to that thought in your head. Let us simmer on that right there, because bitch, people will what disappoint you, bitch. You have to have so much confidence, so much certainty within yourself, because the moment you depend on another human being,
mm.
ah, they will let you down every time.
And that's the
Every time,
issue.
baby.
That's the issue with me. I think, and I said this on Facebook maybe about a week ago. My biggest issue with people, whether it's a friend, a family member, a man, it can be done with, but I'm longing for a person to own what they did or say that they're sorry for what they did. Like genuinely say what they did to me fucked me up. If they weren't even aware that they did something to fuck with me. For example, I had a problem with one of my friends in here. Well, I didn't know, you know. I did something that hurt his feelings, or I did something that disrespected him. You know what I mean? And I wasn't aware that I did something that disrespected him. And when he told me that I disrespected him and that I did something that hurt his feelings, I apologized. I didn't say I'm sorry if I did something to you. The fact of the matter is I did it. I wasn't aware that I did it, but in your eyes, I did. So therefore, I'm sorry that I did that to you. I'll never do that again. and that's just what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I never say I apologize if I did something because at
Yes,
the end
I
of
can't
the
stand the
day,
ifs. I can't
whether
stand
you
a if
know
as bitch.
whether you know you did it or not, if you're gonna say I apologize if I did it, you can keep that to yourself because
Baby,
that's not
let me
And
tell
even
you.
real.
Let me tell you something.
a proper apology, even if it was not your intentions, you if it was not your intentions, you don't know what you did, okay? Because I study communications in college, so this is my field. You say to someone, it was not my intentions to make you feel that way. It was not my intentions to evoke those feelings, to trigger you. I apologize. What can I do to make sure we don't have this disagreement again? But to a lot of people, that's really hard.
But that's really
Like,
all that it takes. That's honestly all that it takes. Because, like, what's going to say, like, when someone says that they apologize, if no, I just told you that what you said was offensive to me because of X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
So if you apologize, if I told you that and I've laid it out for you, I've outlined it. If you say I apologize for what I said, you say I apologize for X, Y, and Z. Okay, there's not an if because if means that there's a possibility for an outcome of truth and false. No, it's true, bitch. Okay, you offended me, and I'm telling you why you offended me. So there is no if, ands, or buts about it. So if you're trying to apologize and be genuine about it, you can say, you know what? Let's say if I got into it with somebody, and somebody says, what you said offended me. I felt like it was, insensitive. I should say if they laid it out, and I go, you know what, I apologize for being insensitive. I had no intention of being insensitive in that way. Or I had all intent on X, Y, and Z. Like Aaliyah said, how can we move forward to continue communication without that kind of conflict? And that's usually that's coming from someone who wants to continue the relationship. Now, if you don't give a
Right,
fuck,
right.
then that's a completely different
And see,
conversation.
you don't want to be someone that is so hell bent on being right. You are so hell bent on holding the torch that you constantly find yourself in a predicament where your relationships are disintegrating because you don't want to hold yourself accountable or in like there's certain people that I have always deemed to be very intelligent. I put them on a pedestal, and then when it's time when I confront them and I tell them how I feel, they get so defensive, they deflect, and they don't know how to be held accountable. And it's very disappointing, and it's a disservice to their character because it's just like you're willing to present yourself in a low vibrational way just so you can be right. Is it that serious? Is it really that serious?
and some people really believe that they're right, and they're really not right at all. Like they're not right. And I'm sitting here telling you, you're not right, bitch. You're not right. But instead, you want to continue on thinking that you're right, and your way of thinking is right, and it's not. And I
Right.
am not the type of person that I would say I would honestly say that I feel that I have great self-awareness. I know exactly what my problems are. I'm very bullheaded. I'm stubborn as fuck. I'm not gonna listen to shit you say right away. If I feel strong about something, and if you want me to be objective, 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna be objective about it because I feel like that. I'm not saying that that's the correct way to be. It's not, but I know that I gotta work on it. And you know what I mean? It's like I know it, but some people really don't think that they do shit wrong. Like they really think that every single thing they do is wrong, is right. And in this conversation, this is why I'm working so hard to try um to try to elevate mentally. I don't want to be that person that's toxic and all of this other stuff. Like I don't want to be that type of person to bring somebody else down. I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. I never wanted to be that person. So Whew, I feel like I'm on
Hannah.
crash. But it just goes back. It was something that Aaliyah said that I wanted to piggyback off of. Like she said, I've always felt the need to dumb myself down to make other people feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like,
Child,
especially
talk
when I first came
about
out the closet.
it.
When I first came out the closet, I always felt the need to dumb myself down. Oh, Scotty, you can't be too gay. Don't be too gay. Like, don't do this around certain people. Certain people are around. You don't want to be your true self around certain people. But then when you leave the house, you can be your ghetto gay ass self all day when you leave. And it's like even with the job I work with, I feel like I have to constantly dumb myself down because my personality is so huge and everybody likes me, but there's some people that just don't like me because everybody else do. And I always say this: if you don't like me, you just got low self-esteem.
That's their
You really don't have
problem. Okay,
to like
that's
me.
that's your internal hatred for yourself. That's jealousy. That's envy.
Yep.
Because I ain't did nothing to you.
I just
Okay.
blocked. I just blocked someone, another individual on all social media platforms, and I blocked them in a text message because I didn't even want to give them an opportunity for them to ask me. You, I'm so serious.
She
I'm
cut
at a
off the
point.
olive branch. She cut that bitch.
I am at a point where if in my gut, my intuition, my ancestors have shown me time and time again, this person is not for you the way that you are for them. I am at a point. I you just really get to a point like you're going through an awakening, Scotty, and it's happening slowly, but it's happening surely. One day you're gonna wake up and you're just not going to give a shit about what people think. You're not gonna consider everyone's opinion and criticism before you make a decision. You're just gonna have this feeling to want to be your authentic self. Okay, because I find that people who are the most insecure, they're not even their authentic self. When they see you being your authentic self, they got everything to say because they're really jealous. They're jealous. They wish they had the confidence to be their authentic selves and live in their truth. So they want to try to dim your light.
Mhm.
And that's what I've learned. And I can't be bothered with it. So it's a process. Don't beat yourself up when you still feel like, okay, I because I'm still dealing with that, but I'm really getting to a place where it's just like, I don't give a fuck. This is my opinion. These are my beliefs. This is who I am. This is what I do. Like, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a hoodoo priestess. And that's something that's also taboo in the Black community, even though it's our fucking spirituality, it's our culture. But we're not
Hello.
gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into that. That's another conversation for another night.
They call it ungodly, but quiet
It's
as it's kept.
sad that even when I'm practicing something that is native, that's in our lineage, that our ancestors practice, I felt like for the past year or so that I had to suppress it or water it down because I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. And then it's just like as of recent during this pandemic and doing like soul searching, I just really had like an epiphany like, why the fuck would I want people around me that I gotta walk on eggshells with? What kind of relationships is that if I can't be my authentic self? So they can walk around and be their authentic self, but I gotta walk on eggshells. I don't even desire to have those type of connections anymore. I just don't care. I just don't care.
I just want to learn. To be honest, my biggest thing is holding grudges. I can't believe I just admitted that. But that's my biggest thing is holding grudges, and I really don't want to do that. But it's like I said earlier, I just feel like I can be so genuine to people, and when they do something to me, it's hard for me to get over it. It's like even if I'm over it, even if I've made peace with the situation, I still don't want to fuck with you. You
But
know?
And
why?
you
What
shouldn't
is
have
it?
to. Like honestly, you're allowed to have whatever energy you want in your life. And if you say if a person feels like, you know what, their energy is not,
Give me
you
one
know,
second.
helping me right now, their energy isn't adding
Like
to me
that.
right now, then like you should have the right to be like, look, You're not
And
adding.
I feel like sometimes we hesitate to cut people out of our lives because of the mutual individuals. Like for me, I have certain family members that I know in my heart at this point, at this stage in my life, they serve no purpose whatsoever. But I've prolonged cutting them off because of a few things. One, the purpose they used to serve, because sometimes we stay in a relationship past its due date because we're
history.
constantly right, we're constantly stuck on like, well, they used to be a good friend, they used to be a good this, they used to be a good that, so we'll stay in the relationship. And then the second thing is, okay, but if I cut this person off, or I hold them accountable, or I reduce them to an associate, our mutual friends, our mutual relatives are going to have something to say. I'm going to look like the bad person. Like, that's what I deal with.
And honestly, it just breaks down to like, look, what counts more to my mental health?
Right.
Because a lot of time, those mutual friends that have something to say, more often than not, do not have the full story between me and that individual. Okay,
Right.
because it's me and that person's business. It's not everybody else's business. But if I just tell you that I'm uncomfortable being in the company of another person right now because me and them are going through a difficult time, and if they can't respect that and they have to ask all these different questions, then that puts them in question as well.
Right.
Amen.
Right. And it's right. And I feel like it comes back to expectations we have with certain people that we have relationships with. We don't want to confront the harsh truth that we've come to the end of the road with certain people. Like, one thing that I'm learning, nothing is definite. And I think because of growing up in a very toxic household where there was never no structure or stability, that is something that I crave. So when I do form a relationship, whether it be platonic, business/platonic, romantic, whatever the case may be, I really try to hold on to it because I want stability. I want something definite. But I'm realizing people really do come into your life for a reason at a certain season, and they serve their purpose, and everyone is just not meant to be here for the whole journey. They're just not.
Babe, and
They're
we
just
be
not.
look, we have a bad habit because of like what you said. If they've served a meaningful purpose to us in the past, they've helped
Yes.
us grow from this version of who we were in the past. We want to keep them because we feel like they can help us grow to a different person in the future, and that's not always the case.
Right.
Okay, they may have helped you from your angsty teenage years into your adulthood with maturity, and very well that could have been the end of their cycle. That's it. That's all they were
Right.
there for. But yet we will continue to keep them in our lives because we feel like, oh, they've helped us so much in the past before. They should be able to help me now. Like, it's good to keep them around. And that's not always the case. So we will ignore a lot of the red flags because they will say something toxic, be toxic, or not be there
Be
for us in
doubtful.
some sort of way. Exactly, a
And it
myriad of
usually comes,
things.
for me, it usually comes with growth. Like, and this is where it becomes hurtful because it's like a thing like, oh, so you were supportive to this version of me, but now that I'm growing and evolving into this person, you're not as supportive. You're more critical, you're more boisterous, you may be even a little dogmatic. What's the problem?
Oh,
What's the
baby,
problem in that?
the
It's like
big
a really
one is envious jealousy,
and that's the thing,
baby.
like I really dealt with that. Like I feel like when I was in the entertainment industry, a lot of people were excited for me because they was already living vicariously through who they thought I was going to become. And when I flipped the switch and did a whole 180 and really got into my spirituality and said, okay, I'm going to go back and get my master's in social work and I want to do this. I'm not saying that they were not happy for me or they're not supportive, but I read energy for a living. I could feel the difference. I could feel the difference, entertainment industry, spiritual advisor, social worker. It's just like, Okay,
There's
that's still
no
considered.
middle. There's no
Yeah,
real.
yeah, it's I could feel the difference, and it's I'm kind of having an epiphany as I walk through this with you. I just feel like, okay, they're not quite ready. Some people are not quite ready at that moment to take this journey with me. But maybe as I hit another stage and as they hit another stage and go on their journey, we'll come back together later.
Because a lot of people, when they view who you are, they view
Mm-hmm.
you as this certain version,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't see you evolving past that version of who they sense that you are. So when you
Right.
veer from that and you veer from their view of who you're supposed to be, they look at you like you're doing something wrong. When in
Right.
fact, like, I'm just moving along my own path. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just that I'm just not aligning with what you believe me to
And
be.
what really irks me is it be people that wishes they had the courage to do a career change, wish they had the courage to go back to school or go back to the drawing board and really see what it is that they like. That's critical. Coming back to the whole generational thing. I feel like our parents and whatnot and aunts and whatnot subscribe to this way of thinking of like you need to have a solid plan A, and then what you're really passionate about, especially if it's like artistic, that needs to be your plan B. Not
Mm,
realizing that by putting so much work into your plan A, you may not have any fumes left to pursue your actual passion.
there's no time. Like, if you put all of these years into nursing or
Mm,
whatever, you've gone through, you spent all this money, you've done all these years of school, and you're in your
right.
30s, potentially early 40s, depending on
Mm-hmm.
the situation. Your passion might be singing. How are you gonna they're gonna look at you like, how are you expected to take
Like
voice lessons
when
and
I
make a
have a
career of
kid,
singing?
I'm back.
I'm not gonna force them to go to college. You just need to tell me what your plan is. If you want to be a backup dancer for Beyonce or Normani, whoever it is, okay. What's up? Are you going to Juilliard? You going to the
Right.
Alvin
What's
Ailey
the
Dance
what's the
School?
plan?
Yeah, what's the plan? I'm not gonna be someone like, no, you need to go and get a degree in business because if that doesn't work out, no, I'm just not gonna be that parent. Like I'm just not. I'm not gonna push my child into the capitalism thing.
What I
What
mean,
what you got to say, Scotty?
oh, what I mean is, because my I had got this
Oh no, we
phone
had
call.
we had just gone into like a whole tangent about, just different
Relationship, like
relationships
when a
and how to
relationship
sort
has
of
an expiration date, but
navigate.
we ignore it.
Now,
Oh,
I did because I think we had to spend a lot of time on relationships that we've had in the past. So I'm going to touch on potential relationships in the future. Okay. So,
because
child, let me take the shot.
this is like my second bottle of this, and I'm kind of feeling it now.
I refuse because it's just this light is so bright. I just refuse. Like I don't want to be over
Oh,
here
this ring
sweating.
light
Like I
right
had a
here.
sip and that's it.
This ring light is bright, and I got this hat on too. So,
Yeah. Oh my
I had to run down the esophagus. Okay. So, I'll start this conversation.
okay.
I wanted to talk about different insecurities within dating in the modern world, because as at least Scotty and I know, for us as gay men, we typically find potential partners within one of maybe three places: Grinder, jacked, and the club.
I could say the club, but I'm not on grinder nor Jack. Never been.
Let's see, and you know what? That is because we are older.
Now, if you said Facebook
Oh,
or
we'll see. Now,
Instagram,
Facebook works as like an all-purpose type T. Anything can happen on Facebook right about now, honestly. But the main ones, the people that are, uh, I'm not even going to attempt to do the generation X, Y, Z, elemental P. Who gives a fuck? People who are 35, between 21 and 35, look at it in the top three places to go look: Grinder, Jacked, and the club in person. And when it comes to, and again, Scotty, correct me anywhere if you disagree anywhere than with what I'm saying.
okay.
When it comes to the homosexuals and seeking potential romantic partners, um, we put masculinity on such a high pedestal. If you have a snapback, if you have
Mhm.
muscles, if you have a
Tattoo.
large penis, if you are dark skinned and slash light skinned with colored eyes, amen.
Oh yeah,
If
I've
you
heard
Tattoo.
that.
have a large bank account, if you possess certain skills associated with masculinity, such as handiness, cooking, grilling, anything that's the opposite of femininity, you are
Light
viewed in
sports,
yeah,
athletic.
you are viewed in a much higher hierarchy than the rest of us. And the reason that I wanted to portray myself in this particular garment is because for me, I know Scotty doesn't give a damn about what I do. Scotty doesn't give a damn about what I do.
You know what?
Um,
When we first became friends, I used to be like, "Why the fuck he be wearing that makeup?" That's because I was
I find personal enjoyment. I get my creative outlet is appeased when I get to portray female impersonation. I get to express myself creatively, express the side of myself who is feminine in whichever way that I see fit, and it brings me joy. It does. However, when I put myself, because this is not who I am all the time. This is who
uh-uh.
I am for about 2 to 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, because after about 2 to 3 hours, this starts to crease. These start to get on my nerves, and whatever shoes that I have on start to hurt. Amen. So all
Damn.
of that fantasy goes out the window, and I become who I really am, my regular self, Jamar at the end of the day. But because I am proud of this persona, and because I am proud of this creativity that I put out in the world, I portray it on social media. I portray it outwardly and proudly because it is something that I am proud of. It is a part of who I am. But our community does not view it the same way that I do. Our community will look at someone that looks like me and associate it with weakness, bottom, femininity,
Yeah, I've heard of that.
submissiveness.
Like I have gay cousins and friends, and they be like, I want a man, and I'd be like, well, what's a man? And they just be like, someone that's just like gay, like they regular. Like
I'm like,
I feel like when it comes to Scotty, when it comes to Quentin, not Funky Dineva the character, but Quentin, the other person too. I feel like y'all are regular, like y'all are gay men. You know what I mean? It's not extra. Y'all are men who identify as gay. Then and I feel
Absolutely.
like that's what gay men be talking about when they be like, I just want a man. Like, okay, clearly you gay, you like the same thing as me, but you not super duper extra. I just it's not my community, but from what I be listening to, I just be like, wow, like I didn't know that it's so many layers when it comes to date, even with the top and bottom thing. Me and Scotty talked about that on live.
I'm gonna say this, and it's funny. It's funny how Jamar is dressed and how I'm dressed. We didn't try to do it this way, but it's kind of like he dressed like that, and the way I'm dressed is basically what gay guys want they dude to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like this. That's what they want. So, and no lie, no lies. In the past, that's something that I liked too because it was the opposite of me. But at the same time, I'm not that feminine and I'm not that masculine either. I think I meet somewhere in the middle somewhere. So at this point,
Like
at this,
you're not like Saucy Santana twerking to changes by Tupac.
you will never see me do that. However, what's funny about it is um,
I
everybody
can't.
wants to call me. Like everybody wants to call me, and I'm not answering this time. Anyway, at this point in my life, masculinity and femininity doesn't matter to me. And Jamar is probably gonna throw his little shade in a minute for what I'm gonna say. But I don't mind feminine guys. I think the thing about it is I want to date a masculine guy, but I'd rather mess around with a feminine boy. It's kind of
You want
like
to date a man like Tank.
I want to date a man like Tank, but I want to fuck
Like,
around
would
with a
you
boy.
fuck with a dude like Kirk Franklin?
Who?
Kirk Franklin.
Uh, maybe,
Okay, hold on.
maybe.
Wait, before we move forward, because I gotta get off of here in a little bit.
Oh Lord.
So there's a tweet circulating. There's a thread on Twitter right now because you know LL Cool J got into some mess on the internet, and somebody wrote under his comments, "Are you and Kirk Franklin still sleeping together?" And
Wait a
and this
minute.
like a whole thread of people that are allegedly closely associated with them that was dropping some tea. Allegedly, of course. Jamar, hit your camera.
Girl, no. Now, listen, I'm going to be 100% homosexual and transparent. If there was some sort of OnlyFans video with LL Cool J and what was the other gentleman's name? Um,
We're not
Kirk
gonna do
Franklin.
the LL
Kirk
Cool J
Franklin.
here. First of all, we're not doing that.
Bitch, I am an honest hoe. I am an honest hoe.
Mm,
I want to see
mm.
it. I want to see it.
You want to see what?
No, I would want to see LL Cool J tied up, being dominated by the man. That
By
you can
who?
spill my tea. The type of stuff I
Dominated by
like.
who?
Okay, bitch, let me be more specific.
Dominated by who? I didn't hear her.
Let
Dominated by
me be
who?
more specific. I would pay US Obama dollars to see Mr. LL Cool J hunched up.
Bye. Uh-uh.
Oh God.
I want to see it.
See what?
I want to see him get plowed. I want to see it.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I
Mm-mm.
listen, as I said, I am an honest hoe. Honest. I want
You
to
too
see
honest.
it. If it were available at a reasonable price, I would pay it.
Did I say no LL slander up in here? Well, that's not really slander, but
We not
still.
slandering him.
Oh no, it's not slander. I want
Ain't
to see him
nothing
hunched
I
wrong
said,
with
over and
I
take the D.
ain't nothing
said
wrong with
slander.
him wanting the D. Nothing.
It
I said allegedly.
is. But from Kirk, no. Kirk is about, no. See, how we get into this? Leah always got to ratchet it up.
Child, listen.
She got to ratchet it up.
How is that ratchet?
Look,
We just
I
had,
said I
we
said
just
what I
had
said.
some Oprah shit all night, and you want to bring some damn. Baby, I
So we're
cannot.
gonna sit
I
here and
cannot.
pretend like we didn't want to see LL Cool J benched over and being fucked by Kirk Franklin.
I
Let
don't
me
want to
tell
see
you
that.
something when it comes to gay porn, because a lot of heterosexual men be surprised when they find out that heterosexual women enjoy gay porn.
Ooh, let's talk
Now,
about it. Put a pin in that. Go ahead.
so for me personally, I don't need to see the penetration. I don't, that's not my thing. I personally like to see like men, like there's this website, okay. I think it's actually, I know what it's called, but basically it's supposed to be like heterosexual men that get like kidnapped by gay men and then they get tied up. But it's all performative. It's not real, guys. I wouldn't support. I That's just what I enjoy. Because I was listening to Angela Yee's lip service, and all of them were saying that they watch gay porn.
You're listening to that BS. That's the problem.
What?
I cannot. I cannot. You want to see this kind of shit? Oh my god.
You was the first of all, Scotty. Don't make me spill your freaky tea.
What's my
Oh,
what's my freaky? I want you to spill it. What's my
Because-
freaky? Go ahead. Because we can be honest around this bitch. What is it?
Listen, we're not gonna go
We can go there since you brought it up. We can go there. What is it?
because remember when
I'm
we
waiting.
got our readings done by psychic Leo Brown,
Uh-huh.
and he's seen visions of you and the things that you like. Don't turn the camera off now.
Lord have mercy.
Listen,
Oh,
I
my
just want to.
wig, child, my wig.
I want to kill the stigma. I don't speak for all heterosexual women, but when I watched Lip Service and all of those women up there talked about how they enjoy gay porn, I'm like, oh, this is normal. This is normal.
Oh, what, Jamar? What?
Everyone has their kinks when it comes. Everybody does.
So I
Like
have
I
a
said,
cousin. So I have a a cousin.
Okay.
She ain't gonna watch this video because she not gonna watch this video. And she told me, now this is where I was blown away personally, because me and her talked, had the whole gay conversation, and she talked about how she loves to watch men be, you know, girl, there's no other word, pleasured by their holes.
Me?
And I showed her some of my bookmarks.
I'm dying.
Bitch, let's be 100. Let's be 100% on that ass. I showed her some of my bookmarks, and as a heterosexual woman, I wanna explore this. As a heterosexual woman, she found a lot of pleasure from finding like different, like, of course she wasn't into the gay porn, but she saw how the male could find pleasure in their anuses or their
Yeah, that does
rectum.
nothing. That really does nothing for me to see a man get fucked in his butt.
But see, you know what? It was. I feel like it
That
was
doesn't.
individualized to her.
Yeah.
She was trying to find ways of which she could do what it do. And I'm just like, I feel like there's such a taboo associated with men trying to find themselves, to pleasure themselves within other ways with women, okay? Because there's so many men who will feel like there's this gay taboo association with, them and their areas back yonder. Listen,
Oh, damn.
You
you have
started
not explored it. You don't know what it, and it's like there is a
But they
whole
say that's where the
world.
man. They say that's where the man's G spot is. My thing is, I don't.
Ooh.
I don't like. I'm not gonna say I don't like it. It just doesn't do anything for me to see that. I'm more into, like,
I
you
am
know.
so like PG. Like I'm so like I'm
Girl,
not
bye.
like I
Child,
don't talk
please.
I don't talk about these things. Like I am not into this stuff. So
Okay, you know what? Honest to God, let me get let me get this part out while Aaliyah is still with us.
what is
I
it?
feel, and this is going to be a hard statement to say out loud.
Oh Lord.
Honest to God, this is probably going to be the hardest statement to say out loud
Oh.
because of the fact I am a gay black male.
Oh Lord, he got to make a speech first.
And look, this is the best way to get all the information out for anybody else who might be feeling the same way. I am a gay black male. I am a gay black male who finds a hobby in female impersonation.
Mm-hmm.
I am a gay black male who is viewed as less than, who is viewed as a somewhat of a subhuman,
Mm.
Mm.
who is viewed as just not enough. You'll be surprised how often, whenever I create a dating profile, how I have to sort of put as much of a masculine front to the profile as I can, because I feel like as the moment that I share that I have any sort of feminine quality, that I portray myself in order in some sort of any feminine way, that they will not toss me aside like a fucking used condom.
Mm.
When I have expressed any interest, I have tried to date guys before I've even showed them any picture of me in drag. And I've shown them that I have, I've learned different makeup techniques. I've learned just anything that's not considered masculine. I have been like basically banished. I have been ghosted. I have been treated as the lowest life form because of the fact that they don't associate me with their ideal masculine fantasy. I'm not the ideal partner that they see themselves with. I'm not someone they feel they can be safe with, someone who will protect them, someone
mm,
who is viewed as a protector, a provider, because I wear heels and makeup.
Mhm.
mm,
I can't be, I can express myself in a way that makes me happy. I can express
mm,
myself in a way that is authentic to myself because the society says I'm not worthy. I
mm,
if I am feminine, if I do what I do, if I look the way that I look, hair, makeup, nails, gown, I am put in a box of being submissive. I'm put in a box of being a bottom. I'm put in a box of being weak. I'm put in a box of not being a provider. I'm put in a box of not being any sort of dominant being within the relationship. I'm supposed to be submissive, and like if I tell people, hey, in the bedroom, I prefer,
I'm a,
because amongst gay men we have, it's all about preference. It's not about how we express ourselves or whatever. If I tell somebody that I prefer to be a quote unquote top in the bedroom, and they see
as well.
me with nails, with makeup, with the long hair, they don't take me seriously.
Mm-mm, they won't.
They don't text me back. They feel like I'm some sort of joke, and I'm caught between, I can either choose to live my life authentically, expressing who I am 100%, which includes me being a female impersonator for creativity purposes, or just um, catering to the side of myself which would fit the masculine viewpoint of me wearing my snapback, me having my long hair, my sometimes my contacts, the way that I dress, the way that I carry myself, how deep my voice may be. But when you view me that way, I feel like you put me upon this pedestal, and then as soon as I show another side of who I am that looks like this,
Mhm.
I am discarded. I am viewed as less than. I'm viewed as a fucking catfish. And I'm no longer considered as a serious candidate for a potential partnership, even though I'm still the same person that you communicated with, that you connected with, that you shared these memories with. I am still put in this box of invalidity, lesser than, feminine, bottom, weakness, everything that is the opposite of what gay men look at for a partner, masculinity, providing, strength, like all of that is it's turned on its head. Like as soon as you show a feminine quality, and even this doesn't even go from people who are feminine who choose to express themselves outwardly feminine like I do. If you show a limp wrist, if you give a lisp in the voice, if you raise your octave higher than a normal baritone, you are viewed as lesser than.
Mm.
And it's in within our society, I feel like it's built into our minds. Like we want to assume this heteronormative society so bad. And I feel like we're conditioned that way that if you as a man, if you identify as a man, because this excludes our trans sisters, they're women, they're within a whole different demographic. If we, because I, even though I look the way that I do, I still identify as male.
Hold on, wait a minute.
What I
Even
am
if
right
it,
now, this is a female persona, this is creativity, this is a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait. I'm only telling you to wait because I see a comment here and I gotta respond to it.
Wait,
The
what's that?
comment said, the comment said, but that's to be expected, Jamar. Whether it's to be expected or not, that doesn't make it right. It don't make it right. Like, because he carries himself this kind of way, that means that he's supposed to be rejected or he's supposed to feel like he's less than what he's supposed to be as a man. That's not right. But and it goes back to what I always be saying when it comes down to the gay community. We want unity. We want to be unified. We want to be accepted amongst other communities, but we don't accept ourselves or the
That's the
people
black
that's amongst
community, and
our
that's the thing
own
with
community.
being a black person that's part of LGBTQIA plus community, is that within the black community first, you already have divisions. You have colorism, texturism, classism, featureism. And then when you add the sexual orientation onto it and how you identify gender wise, that becomes a whole other can of worms.
Hold on, wait a minute. It's down to preference. Yes, it is down to preference at the end of the day. Everybody has a right to prefer whatever the hell they want to prefer. But at the end of the day, whether it's
I,
preference or not, the way this dude right here, my friend right here, Jamar, the way that he feels, it doesn't make it less valid. Whether it's preference or not, that's still the way he feels, and it's still the way they make him feel when they do the shit that they do,
Jordan
regardless.
said the gay community may never be unified in his opinion. What do you think about that?
It won't be. It
That's the
won't
way
be.
I feel about the black
Honestly,
community.
it's we are
It won't be.
in somewhat of the beginning of a renaissance, in my opinion, because I feel like for the longest time, feminine qualities have been shunned upon. But the thing is what's weird is like bottoms have been viewed as less than. But the thing is, if there are no bottoms, who are you fucking? So
Exactly.
it's like I feel like bottoms are sort of making a resurgence to where, and it's and again, it's very early in my eyes within the community where feminine traits are being somewhat less scrutinized to where like who was Joshua said there are some masculine men that do like androgynous men. That's true. I'm not speaking on everyone, but I feel like there's a vast majority of people within our community who see people that look like me or who do the things that I do and view us as like people who are confused. There are people who associate drag queens with trans women, and we are completely different. Trans women
They
come
do.
come through on a completely different experience than we do. We do this purely out of expression and creativity. At least I'm speaking for myself. But I admit that on the outside, if you are a straight male or if you are a gay male who doesn't participate in any sort of female impersonation, that we could look the same. But I'm here to tell you that we are not. Trans women, it's all mentally up here. They are born within the wrong body. They feel like they are a woman. They just try to exude their outdoor experience with their inner experience up here in their mind. We, as me, as a person who classifies as a male, who likes to participate in the art of female impersonation, like to express our feminine side within ourselves outwardly for only a short time. Trans women are this way outwardly all the time. They may not be able to express it outwardly because of surgeries and different obstacles, but it's completely different. But what I want us to
Before
not.
you, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Before you go further, I just wanted to say, because I have to go. Thank you for having me on here. I really appreciated the conversation. It was very therapeutic for me. And I want to thank the chat and your audience as well for allowing me on here a second time and being respectful to my presence and the conversation that Scotty and Jamar initiated.
And we love you, baby. We appreciate you for coming on to join the
Love you
conversation
too.
and a tribute to it. You'll
She
definitely
stayed
be
strong.
back.
Yes, we're gonna do a kinky talk.
I'm not
Oh,
gonna participate.
child.
Scotty, stop being a prune.
Listen,
A what?
I am the Virgin Mary, but
That's Aaliyah being nasty. I'm
Okay,
not
well,
gonna.
listen, we have stories.
I have stories too.
We'll be back
Okay.
because these are stories that have to be told because we are transparent bitches.
I will see y'all later. Good night. Text me when you're done.
And we love you. Bye.
Okay. Love you too. Good night.
Everybody calling me. Damn. Shit, this shit is annoying. But I will say this though, Jamar. I don't know if I said this to you or not, but at the same point in time, like you have your issues with that, but um when it comes down to it, I've had my own issues with my physical look.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been told that I was ugly, and I was told I was ugly by other gay men. So a lot of the times I would feel like I'm not attractive, and I used to feel like that's why I ain't got no man because I ain't attractive. But when I meet a guy, they say how attractive I am. But then you get around these other girls and they call you ugly. They say you ain't cute. And then even when you look at my YouTube presence, I look at my demographics all the time.
Women,
And women, and it's literally 93%
I
is.
already knew because it's
Hold
the
on one
same.
second. Just hold on one second. They keep calling me. Hold on. Hello? So when I answer, they hang up. Stupid. Go ahead, Jamar. Just go ahead.
Child. But I wanted to address, like, because like what you said, like, women are usually the largest group of our audience between like across LGBT channels, which I find is very interesting. But I did want to address what Sharon Young had commented. It said preference is if that's your type, then that's what you find your type. You shouldn't demean someone because of that, whether you're gay or not. And I don't want to put out the narrative that if you don't like someone like me, then it's bad or you're a bad person. My thing is, a lot of people just automatically, without even getting to know who I am as a person automatically associate me with those types of things that I mentioned before, like weakness, bottom, submissiveness, non-provider, weak. Like these are things that a lot of people that I've asked these specific questions to associate with me without even knowing who I am. They'll see a picture of me and already put those things to my name. Now, if this, at the end of the day, if this is not your preference, then that's perfectly fine. I don't want to make it seem like you're forced to accept anyone that's outside of your preference, but I
That's not what.
want people to, if you encounter someone like myself where you may not see me as this initially, then to take the time to get to know me as a person as opposed to associating all of those potentially negative things with me just because of the way that I choose to express myself. Get to know the person beyond all of this first and foremost. Now, at that point, if you don't decide then that's not your tea, then that's perfectly fine because you've done the work. You know?
Okay, let me say this since I just got sent this by Yes Bitch TV. He DM'd me because I think we overlooked that question. The question he said, most gay men feel like if they are going to be with a guy who is overly feminine or even the look as a female, they may as well be with a woman. Thoughts?
Woo! Do you want
A
to go
lot of
first or should I?
DL men date guys that portray themselves as women. A lot of DL men prefer that. A lot of them do, and that makes and that's my opinion. I feel like a lot of DL guys have that thought process. It makes them less gay if they date a man that's into the more feminine thing. I know that I dated a man. He wasn't necessarily down low, but I dated a man that he didn't see it for me like that, but he was with these other girls that have on a face full of makeup, put on a little dress and all this stuff. I guess I was too much of a man for him. There are guys that there have been guys that have turned me down because I look like this.
Now that's interesting conversation because it's like
Yeah,
I feel like we've been living sort of polar opposites sides of the spectrum. Whereas I've
yeah,
had people who are just like looking at me like I expect you. They're telling me I expect you to look like what Scotty looks like, and Scotty's telling me that there are people that he will present himself the way that he is right now and expect them to look like me, which is different than what I had experienced, which is new
which
to
is
me.
which is kind of like this for me. Like as time has went by, and you know this for a fact, my way of looking at men is different. Like there are times where I would date a more feminine guy. You know what I mean? And I play that role as the top. I played that role as the top. I have. Dressing like this. I can be that. I can be that. Or I have my time where I want to date a man and then, I'll be the opposite, but still dressed like this. And I think sometimes for some men, that can be an issue. Like, it's an image issue, I think.
Hmm.
What I think that's what I've experienced as an image issue. Like, there was a time where I had a label. These days I don't have labels, but I've had a label where it's kind of like I label myself as quote. Back in the day, I would label myself as quote unquote the bottom, but still just like this. And sometimes that'll be confusing for another man. Like I used to wonder when I be on social media, why I even said that to you before. I said, why are all these bottoms in my DMs trying to talk to me? Like, why are they trying to talk to me again? Why are they throwing their ass in me now? I don't
It's
understand.
very interesting because with how I present today and how people know me across the social media platforms, you would be surprised to know if I wanted the poom poom, I would get the poom poom.
I have women flirting with me too.
Okay, I have had women throw themselves practically at me because there's something about, and this is like, I don't know if Scotty's experienced this, but like when you go to like gay settings and women come in, there's something about a sense of um disarmament. There's something about a sense of safety and
Hmm.
camaraderie that heterosexual women feel in a gay male environment, where they don't feel like they're being objectified, they don't feel like they're being sexualized, they don't feel like they're being viewed as prey in the environment. They feel like everybody around me is sort of an ally, to where they come attracted to that. That part I don't understand. There would have to be a heterosexual woman who experienced that to come in and give the viewpoint. I don't understand it, but all I know is, from my perspective, is that a lot of women, even though I look the way that I do and act the way that I act, people are still ready to throw the poon at me. I'm like,
I'm just gonna be real. And I think I had on this very outfit too. A woman came in my DMs on Snap. She had watched every single one of my DMs. And even though I had this shit on, I was gay as fuck. I was singing Mariah Carey in those snaps. And I had maybe a couple of pictures that I took of myself with this whole outfit on. She literally came in my DM and asked me would I eat her pussy. And I blocked the fuck out of her after that. Like, I didn't have no response. I blocked her ass. Uh, no. Mm-mm. 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 I didn't know how to respond to that. She said, would you eat my pussy? I would love for you to eat my pussy. I'm like, this got to be a troll. Because this can't be real. This can't be no real bitch asking me. You know.
girl, let me. I listen again. I don't know. We really need some sort of gay, sexualized, heterosexual woman on here to explain, because I had to say, like, if I wanted puss at
I would
any
have
time, I could go out like this.
I could have it all day if I
I
want.
could go out like this, full beat, nails, gown, but and still pull bitches. Why?
Like some of my female friends have seen how my dick looks before. Like they was like adamant about seeing it, and I showed them a picture of it, and they saw it. It is what it is. They asked, so I let them see it. Whatever. Even even as a gay man, I don't find women attractive, but if a woman has a big ass, I'm looking at it. Or if she has like a nice size of titties for me to like put my face in if I need to cry or something like that, I'm looking. But I wouldn't dare sleep with them though. At all. At all. You're not
Oh,
getting
hold
that.
on. Yes, bitch TV. Listen, you, bitch, you asking for the picture? Stop it, girl.
um Jasmine, we're not
Stop it,
friends
girl.
friends with that person anymore. So go figure.
Wait, what happened?
She said which female friend asked this because I never knew, and I said we're not friends with that person anymore. So go figure. The bitch that asked, I don't even fuck with her no more.
Oh,
But
child. But I did wonder. Somebody had mentioned. Hold on, wait, let me call them by name. Somebody wanted, and I feel like we. I don't know how long it would be of
girl,
us
we did
asking.
a long time. We didn't even
Huh?
expect it to take this long. We just 2 hours in.
I'm gonna let this one slide.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let this one slide. But Joshua was it 1994 to asked us to speak on the no fats, no films.
I don't like that either. I don't think I don't think that's cool. Like you're basically flamboyantly being divisive. You know what I mean? Like you're trying, like you're literally cutting out a whole group of people for no reason. Like if you don't like big guys, fine. If you don't like films, fine. But I just think it's harsh to say no fats, no films. I think that's not cool. I don't like that. I wouldn't say that. That's just like me saying no light skins. I don't like. Why would I say that? Like, I'm not necessarily attracted to light skinned guys like that. I like them dark. But it's just like me saying no, no clears. Why would I say that?
Not no clears, Jesus.
Why would I say that? I didn't know what
But
else. That's the thing that came to mind, to be honest.
I mean,
So,
like, no fats, no films. It's a very toxic thing that I feel like a lot, and I feel like it appeases more to what I mentioned earlier about how, like, if you don't fit the snapback, muscular, lean, big dick, low voice vibe,
right.
then you are viewed as less than in the gay community. Like, I mean, there will be a certain market for you, but the general public of the gay community is not going to check for you. And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's the toxic thinking pattern that we have as a gay community, especially just based off of my opinion, especially the black community. I feel like the white community is a lot more forgiving for body image, personality. I feel like they're a lot more forgiving for a lot of stuff. But us, we are the most judgmental people on the planet. We will judge you head to toe. We will go from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet if we find something that does not align with our ideal partner. We will dismiss the fuck out of you and ghost you.
But you know what? I have this crazy disconnection with gay guys as far as like getting cool with them. Like I said, besides you, I have my core group of gay male friends. Two of them been in here already tonight. But I have this crazy disconnect. It's like I don't feel comfortable in gay settings. And people think that it has a lot to do with me not being comfortable with my sexuality. And I don't understand how you could say that if I'm shouting it to the rooftops all the time that I'm gay as fuck. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's just that when I'm around a lot of gays that I'm not familiar with, it's always the same shit. I come in a room, motherfuckers rolling their eyes, they looking at me crazy, they sizing me up, they all act like I fucked their men or wanted to fuck their men. When all reality, their men wanted to fuck me properly. 9 times out of 10. So,
Well, I mean,
and I gracefully probably turned them down, but that's how they act. Like a lot of these girls really be rolling their eyes, and especially the feminine girls, they really don't like me, and I really don't give a fuck. And I'm guessing The fact that I really don't give a fuck is a problem. I just choose not to do it.
I'm I wonder I wonder if we as a community sometimes give the impression to people outside of the community, whether it be heterosexual males, females, or even like you said, people who may be gay but don't necessarily identify with being in the gay scene. We sort of provide this environment where we're not as accepting, we're not as um, giving or forthright than opposed to our counterparts. Because I'm like, baby, from my experience, when I step into a black gay environment, I know I feel like I have to be on my P's and Q's.
Ooh!
Because if I am not on my P's and Q's, I am going to be red.
Hmm.
And it may not even be to my face. I could
Oh,
be red in someone's random group chat for all I
it's
know.
mm,
But when I step into a majorly Caucasian gay environment, based off of the type of music that they play, just the type of whole vibe that they give, at least to me, no one in that establishment gives a fuck about what I look like, what clothes I'm wearing, what type of vibe that I'm giving off, any of that. They're just there to have fun. To me.
right. Because that's no. All I know is that these girls like they don't like me. They say I'm ugly, and then it would be it used to be said so much that I would honestly believe it. Like I'd be like, so I'm ugly, and then I start picking at myself like, well, I know my grill fucked up. So what else is fucked up? My nose is too big. My lips are too big. My body is not what it should be. Um, I just try to find shit. And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, why am submitting to this BS that they're putting out there? Like, why?
And that's the thing. I feel like that's something I am struggling with to this very day. It's like when things don't go your way, when you're, trying to, talk to someone. If things don't work out, you feel like, well, am I, not attractive enough? Am I too feminine? Am I not, you know, forthright enough? Am I not masculine enough? Do I not possess the physical capabilities? Did I say something wrong? Like I feel like as gay men, because I feel like, and then this is speaking from ignorance because I'm not a member of the heterosexual community. The heterosexual community, a lot of their base is sort of laid out. Like the
Mm,
women typically fit the woman stereotype, and the male typically, not everyone, fit the male stereotype if they identify as heterosexual. With us, it's a little bit more complex because you have your masculine and your feminine. You have masculine men who are bottoms, you have feminine men who are tops. You have people who are versatile, people who are bottoms and only top, and there's this whole sexual chemistry that we have to get around. We have to get behind like sexual chemistry. We have to get behind everything else that works, like personality, uh, just compatibility. Period. As people, like it feels like there are so many more obstacles that we have to get through that we sometimes sort of just put each other in boxes that we end up being single in our 30s, early 40s, because we choose to chase that dream of the masculine man with the snapback, the big penis, the masculinity, the muscles, the deep voice, all of those things that we put as a community on a pedestal. If
In
we
my
don't
case, gun.
if we don't find it, we like it's not for me. And I'm like, y'all have like and again, I'm only speaking to those who think this way. If you don't think this way, I'm not talking to you. The people that do, you have to open your heart, you have to open your mind to people who you feel like doesn't fit your normal stereotype. Just give a conversation to them. Give a chance to get to know that person. You would be surprised how attractive a person can become when you actually talk to them on a one-on-one level, aside from all of the expectations that we may have when dating, aside from all of the stereotypes, you will be surprised how attractive a person can become when you view them as a person.
That's true now. That's very true.
You'd be
That, that is true. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I was ignorant to the whole masculine, feminine thing in my early 20s. I was all about a masculine dude. All about a nigga that smoke weed, carry a gun, have a car with a bunch of rims on them, all that bullshit. But as I got older, that's the shit I want to stay away from. And I started not to really care about what they do. It's kind of like now it's I feel this way. I like what the fuck like me. So it's kind of like if a top like me, okay. If a bottom like me, fine. I can do both. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So
you're in a position to where you can accept both types of energies. I am not in the same. I'm
so,
not in the same place, unfortunately.
but you know, a lot of what you know, you probably gonna be surprised that I'm saying, and it's killing my soul to say this. But a lot of what we're saying kind of aligns with the things that that other person be saying as far as the gay community is concerned, and I kind of agree with that person when it comes down to these type of issues. They have a point.
Who are you referencing right now?
A person that I used to be friends with.
That we both know?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, like he does kind of have a point, especially with the no fat no fams thing.
And I feel like
And
that because that's a point that we all identify with as a
yeah,
unit, whether we agree with the specifics of it or not within one another.
mhm,
Like that's just toxic.
yeah, you know. So that's just to let you know. That's well, not you. This let this me saying it lets anybody know. I ain't no hater. I don't have to like you to agree with what you're saying. So um, I agree with that. I never agreed with the whole no facts, no films. I just it's so harsh. You know what I mean? It's harsh to me. It's one thing to have your preference, but it's another thing to just diminish people just because of their shapes and sizes. Like it's fucked up to me. Like I don't like
I
the no facts shit. I don't like it. Period. I,
agree because
I don't like.
the I mean debates can be put upon the fat part, but the feminine part, it's who you are.
Right.
And even
That,
it's like even with the fat part, like if it's a genetic thing that you're big boned or that you know your parents are people who are heavier, it's more than likely that you'll be a heavier person too. But it's just like you shouldn't be denied intimacy and deny the opportunity of love and affection just because you're considered larger than the normal human being, or lighter, darker, more feminine, more masculine. Like, these are things that show us that we express who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go around and everybody just tries to pretend to be what we think other people should be, it's miserable.
Mm. It
It's
is.
utterly miserable. And I did that for a very long time. Within one of my last relationships, I did what I thought would be considered attractive based off of the standards of the gay community at that time. And even though he stuck around for just a little bit longer, I was miserable.
I would say that my last relationship, it wasn't an image issue. It was more so of a maturity issue, but not on my end, on that bitch's end. It was more of me trying so hard to prove something. And I hate that I didn't get a chance to say this while Aaliyah was on here. But my last relationship, and it just goes back to what I said earlier when I said that I feel like I'm in emotional rehab right now and I'm trying to get over the addiction of toxic men. I feel like with that last relationship, it felt like I had to prove something. If you understand what I'm saying, it felt like I had to prove something to people. Like even though I always feel like I'm the single one all the time. Like you know,
Same.
my friends, they're not always in a relationship, but they'll be in one before me. You know what I mean? Like, like I have friends. Most of them are in relationships right now, and I'm like literally probably the only one that's single right now. And about a year ago, this time, I was being told things about this man, and it wasn't like I didn't see the red flags. It's not like I didn't see them because I saw them. Like everybody warned me about him. You know what I mean? Everybody warned me. Everybody told me shit. And I didn't want to listen because I didn't want to judge somebody based off of what somebody else had to say. But at the same time, I knew that they wouldn't steer me wrong. But I felt that I had a point to prove. I wanted to prove that I could keep a man. I wanted to prove that I could have a man. And I wanted to prove that I could change him despite what everybody had to say. I felt like I would be that person to change him. Because, sometimes men can change for who the fuck they want to change for. Like, you can date a man for a long time and they treat you like shit, but when they get with the next motherfucker, they change. Sometimes
Baby, all that work that you feel like you did.
it goes to somebody else. Sometimes you feel like you can change someone. Sometimes you feel like you can be that person to show them the path that they supposed to be on. And that's what I was doing. Even though everybody told me that wasn't it. But I stayed. You know what I'm saying? Like I was helping them. Even when I couldn't really help myself. And you knew what my situation was. This is before I even lost everything. I'm helping you with everything. I'm helping you financially. I'm helping you emotionally, not physically, because we're not having sex. Not because I don't want to, but because you make it something that not because I don't want to do it, but because you making excuses to why you can't do it every time.
Right.
With you for 7 months, but we're not having sex, and that's weird to me because my sex drive is
Especially since y'all are in fuckable distances. Like, it would be different if it was a couple where one lived in fucking Maine and the other one lived in fucking Arkansas.
But
Like,
we're here. We're
if
right here.
y'all are within a
Like
drive of each other
45 minute radius. Like
and ain't no penetration happening,
none. Not absolutely none. I'm not even having sex with you. Do you know how many men are A, throwing their asses at me, B, swinging their dicks at me? Do you know how many people trying to fuck me right now that they know I'm in a relationship with you, but I'm trying to be a good boyfriend and I do that to you? I could easily do that. There are people waiting in line to do it, but I didn't do it. You know what I mean? So it's like I saw the red flags. You know what I'm saying? Nigga stood me up several times. We supposed to went out on a date. He stood me up. He wanted to meet my cousins. He stood me up. We supposed to do this. He stood me up 3 times, but I stayed around. I stayed around. You know what I mean? Like he lost his job and shit like that, and he didn't have any money like that. When other niggas would have just left because you ain't had shit. You know, like niggas would like some people would leave you just because you ain't got no job. Some people would leave you when they even though when you met them they had money, but while you with them they don't have that same money no more and they'll leave your ass because of this shit. I didn't do that.
you're very true.
I stuck around for all of that. So when I dealt with all of that shit, and not only did I lose that relationship, but I lost my whole way of living during that time. You were for all of that. So it's kind of like I'm going through all of this turmoil in my life, and it's like I have a man, but the man ain't there for me.
Now, how much support are you really getting from this person?
No support, period. All my support came from my friends. All
Well,
my friends. My friends. Everybody be like, well, where's your boyfriend at? Who?
in my
Where?
imagination,
Because apparently I don't have one. But that's what I'm going through. And once I realized that he had somebody the entire time, that just fucked up my spirit. Like it's like at this point, I don't want nothing to do with him. So it's kind of like I'm in a place where yes, I'm holding a grudge. I can admit that. I'm holding a grudge right now. So I'm at a point where I don't fuck with him. If he see me in the street, he need to act like he don't fucking know me. Like I don't want no dealings with you. Don't check up on me. Don't call me. Don't speak to me if you see me. Just act like we never even met each other. Cause I don't have no words for you. Because at this point, when I tell you why you hurt me, all you can say is, well, you broke up with me. It's not just because I broke up with you. You said that you felt that we weren't supposed to be, you feel like this wasn't the right time for us to be in a relationship. So I
girl,
took
bye.
so I took that as are we breaking up or are we taking a break? Because either way, it's separation. Just by that statement, it's separation. So what are we doing here? He couldn't make the decision. So I said, he said he didn't know what he wanted to do. So I said, okay, well, I take it upon myself to say we may need to be apart. But when it comes back around, you use that as, well, you broke up with me. But you act like you wasn't already with another nigga when I broke up with you, though. We broke up on the 30th, and you're with another nigga on the 24th. Oh, let me take that back. October 29th. That's when you were with him. So you was with him a whole month when I decided to break up with you.
And mind you,
And I didn't.
that's like togetherness. There's a whole phase of getting to know each other, texting, talking, all of that shit before you actually decide whether or not you want to get together. And if he says that they broke up, like their relationship was together on the 23rd and then separated on the 24th, and the fact that merely a month later or less than a month later, you have begun an entirely new partnership with another person.
And still won't even own up to the fact that he was with somebody and that I know the whole story. You don't even own it. And I think that's my issue with it. He won't own it. And not only will he not own it, it's like this, Jamar. When I confronted him on Valentine's Day, how ironic. Um, he doesn't even
Child.
acknowledge that I said that I knew that he had another nigga. Now,
Of
days after
course
we
not. People will hold on to it as long as they can.
Because days after we broke up, you on Facebook saying you're in a relationship. You changed your relationship status after we broke up. Because when we were together, you never changed you still had single as your relationship while we were together. But when we broke up, all of a sudden you're in a relationship. So when I said something to you about it, oh, it's just a prank. I'm not in a relationship for real. You was already with someone. You was already with them.
No, no
Come
one
on
puts
now.
in a relationship. No one goes through the process of going through their Facebook, putting in a relationship just for a prank.
Right, you know what you're doing.
No.
Talk to me. So it's like
No. Who does that? No one has done that since 2012.
right, like I ask you what's going on here, and you say you don't have a boyfriend, but I know you got one. I know it. I ain't stupid. Just like I knew you wasn't shit when I was talking to you, but I still was talking to you. I know you got a nigga. So the way you acting, I know you got one, but you lying about it. And so when I confronted you about it 2 months later, you still say don't even acknowledge that you already got a man. You don't even acknowledge that. But the one thing you do, I apologize if I hurt you. What? And that's all you got?
Girl, bye.
What? But when you talk to friends of mine, I didn't do anything to him. He broke up with me. I didn't do nothing to him. Really?
Child, people will be in the D motherfucking aisle as long as they can to keep up the image that they have, especially with your friends. Since most of your friends, unless you tell them the tea within your relationship, they can mold the story however which way they want to favorite them to make your best friend think that you're crazy.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my whole thing. And then you making me look crazy. You making people think that you didn't do shit to me. Like I'm just mad at you for nothing. So it's kind of like, but at the same time, the same person you left me for, they shitting on you right now.
What goes around comes the
Comes
motherfuck back
back around.
around, baby.
All that you thought that you could do to me and get away with, somebody's doing it to you and much better. I'm not saying that I'm glad that it's happening to you. What I want to happen to you is for you to walk out in the middle of the street and get ran over by a damn fire truck. That's what I would want for you. But at the end of the day,
Not a fire truck, bitch.
fire truck because I know it'll hurt. But my thing about it is
Child.
that I'm glad that you're getting drugged. But that's what happens when you treat people like that. Like a person that's being genuine to you. My biggest thing was you met my mother, my family, my friends. You met all of these people. And this is what you do. This is why I don't like to let people in my world like that. When I let you in my world like that, and you fuck around and you do me like that, I can't fuck with you like that no more. It can't happen. It just can't happen. So if you want to say I'm holding a grudge, bitch, I'm damn sure holding one. That Taurus moon is in me. I will hold a grudge to the day you die.
Oh Lord. Look,
I feel like
I don't even pretend to know what none of that means. Cause child,
right.
I just learned about that shit like a week ago.
The moon is your emotions, how you react emotionally. That's what that is.
What I got like emotions? I got like a Gemini emotion.
That's why you're a Gemini moon.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
You're gonna have to read up on that. You're gonna have to. Or we may have to do another one with Aaliyah so she can explain all that because she knows. But
Child,
yeah,
I'm looking at that like, girl, this is all motherfucking. Who knows what it is? Mandarin for all I know.
woo! But one thing I can say about this one right here, this was a therapeutic. We said it was gonna be therapeutic. This was
That's
therapeutic.
what I wanted,
Like,
and I felt like we got a lot of what we wanted to off of our chest. I
we
feel like a
did.
lot was conveyed.
Yes, it was.
So I think it was worthwhile. I think it was successful.
I think so too.
So I do want to
I think
open, but before, because
huh?
wait, what was the last part you said?
I said I think it came out the way we wanted it to.
I would agree. I would
It
agree,
did.
and I thought I would end up trying to put like the same kind of sort of time constraint on this one, but I was like, I'm gonna let this one just sort of
Yeah,
flow,
like
just
if we were
let
talking
it go.
like we were talking about foolery in the blogs and shit, like we would have never let it go this far. But we was talking about some real shit on this one, like real shit. We opened it up with the real shit. From the moment I said I'm in rehab for my toxicity addiction, that was too much from the beginning. So I'm surprised I didn't cry. I was on the verge of crying many times since we've been doing
Oh, really?
this. I was, because I don't like to talk about this shit.
It's not, I don't like it, but I knew that it would be beneficial to just let the frustration out. And I feel like now was the time when I was so much more confident in who I was that to sort of say that it wouldn't hurt me as much as it probably would have in the past. Whereas now
Right.
we can talk about it. I feel like I am sickening and I am everything and feel less of a need of an outside person to tell me those things. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, I'm gonna say this though before we go, because I know we gotta go now. But I'm gonna say this. I'm finna get sentimental. I don't do well with sentimental at all. But I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this in front of everybody. I really couldn't have picked a better person to do this project with. I really couldn't have picked a better person than you. I would say that. I couldn't have. And I know we've sat here and we've talked about like our traumas from the past and bad relationships and friendships and things of that nature and things that we've done to other people and things that people have done to us. But I just want to take out this time for us to, as we end this, to appreciate each other, if you get my drift. And like I always say, I am a big person when it comes down to friendship. I'm big on friendship. A lot of my childhood friends were in this chat. A lot of my friends from for a long time, for 10 years, a decade, all that was in this chat. A lot of my people were in here. My cousins were even in here. Like there are a lot of people that was in here. But I just want to take out the time and they all know how I feel about them. So I don't even have to go there and yell out their names and say how I feel about them. I don't have to do that. But I want to take out this time to talk to you. I just want to say that People always say that when it comes down to YouTube friendships and shit like that, people always make it sound like you don't find real friendships on YouTube. They always say that um, YouTube friendships aren't real, but I think that we are the exception to that. I'm not saying that other friendships on here aren't real, but I think that we are an exception to that. Like, I always big you up all the time. I always tell people how great you are. And I always tell people that I want you to see how great you are, like I see it. And um,
And I know
I
you. It's like a common thing. Like we don't give ourselves enough credit for whatever level platform that we have. I feel like I can talk shit about myself because I call out my little dusty corner of the internet. The people, the little small group of people that subscribe and buy my bullshit. But Homegirl is over here with like almost 20K subscribers and wearing the girls out. So, girl,
oh my God.
let the
All I
girls
have,
have it.
all like, I'm just saying, like, you have been there for a lot of stuff in my life. You have. You were there through all of my trials, all my tribulations, all my crazy shit. Because I'm one person that has a lot of crazy, what the fuck shit that happens in their life all the time. But, but I just wanted to say that on camera because, and whatever you have to say about me, you can say it. I just want to say that on camera because I know that I always big you up and I always say whatever I say about you, and I know that people find a way to take it hard, like whatever. And I always want to see you win, even when I'm even when I'm a part of something, I always make sure you're a part of it some kind of way. See how Yes Bitch TV is in the comment. I always mention you, I always talk you up. I'm always trying to find a way to incorporate you in anything. I always feel like if I'm about to do something, if I get an opportunity to do anything, and somebody see me on YouTube for it and they want to give me an opportunity, then I always mention you as another person opportunity. I'm never gonna not do it. Period. And
I said, that's what I can. I said I can always count on this bitch, and even like just on the YouTube, baby. I know we talked. I know we just told this shit before, but when I tell you that this bitch was ready to square up on the goddamn police officer because this bitch told me to go outside.
I'm just
I was like,
saying.
oh, so she ready to fight for real. And I just said, no, fucks with that. And I've always appreciated that. So I said, I love you down to the moon and back. And we done been here rocking for about 7 years.
7, almost decade.
And I feel like we've been consistent. I don't think either one of us has changed.
No.
We didn't gave each other the real.
All,
where we where we have asked for the real.
all the time.
So, and I feel like because of that type of history, that's what makes like this upcoming podcast so much more sweet because it's not something that would be forced. It's
I
not
was just
something that would be contrived in any way. Like, honestly, like our podcast, and we talked about it, episodes of our podcast would literally be me and Scotty's FaceTime conversations. It would just be recorded for y'all to listen to and watch at the same time.
and look at the live streams. It's kind of already showing what it's gonna give anyway. That's why we're doing them now. So it's already showing what it's gonna give. You know what I mean? And like I said before, like I know we tried the whole thing in the past with other people and things of that nature, but I feel like at this point we realize that it would only work with just us two.
In the long run. And at that time, it was a good idea. And at that time, had the other individuals grown together with us, it would have been a wonderful thing. It would have been
It,
something so amazing.
it could have been good. I can
But,
say it could have been good.
but, that's not the case.
Mhm. But I will.
And
You know what we could say. You know what we could say. Even though we one of them not working with them, at least one of them we want to be. We want to get them. We want to work with them though.
oh yes, and that's always been the case since everything went down. There was always that one who I feel like we had that conversation. I was like, even though this is happening, that one is eventually going to see the bullshit.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
one is eventually going to see the bullshit because that one identifies more so with who we are and who a lot of us were within our circle of content creators, black, LGBT, whatever. That the alternative over there has decided for themselves to separate themselves. And we let them do that. We let them take their own path, but we don't let them drag other people with them.
no. Mm,
Catch that tea. Amen.
amen.
Hallelujah.
I just feel like it's good the way that it is, and I really enjoy doing these live streams. So it really makes me feel like I'm gonna enjoy doing the podcast ultimately. Like I really have fun doing these, and I have fun when we just planning them out. Or like today, like the day, like I know, like the day of these lives, I get excited because I know I'm gonna go home and do a live. Like it's gonna be fun. Like it takes me away from the anxieties of what I deal with on my days, like at work and shit like that. Like this is a change of pace. So this gives me something to look forward to. And it's fun. And I got the right person with me to do it. And it is what it is. So we've been at this for a long fucking time, you know what I mean? And it is what it is.
Baby,
I'm just glad that we're actually doing it.
let me tell you something. I feel like I don't know if we mentioned this last week or the week before. This particular podcast has been in the making. Honestly, the first time that we mentioned it for 6 years.
Please.
6 whole ass years.
Right.
And at the first year was when we thought it was going to be 4 people.
For people.
But within that first year, the next year showed that that was likely not to happen.
Right.
And in the following year after that, it was certain that that was not going to happen. And so it had just went through many iterations between me and Scotty's minds. And it wasn't until last year that we was like, look, we talked about it many times over. And it's just like, I feel like the hardest part is just to go ahead and start doing it. Like manifest it in reality. Give it a name. Give it an image. Give it like some sort of life. Because I feel like beforehand it was just an idea that we thought was cute for many years. And it was just like, how long are we gonna allow this to just be something that we can enjoy between you and I?
I think that another thing is I think we didn't really have much faith in ourselves either because I feel like we
Probably
felt
not.
that we, I felt like we felt like we needed other personalities to be involved for it to be interesting because we didn't really believe in ourselves like that. But now that we're doing it alone, it shows that we're able to do it by ourselves because it's genuine. It's not forced. Like it's not something that is contrived. Like this is exactly how it is when we're talking outside this camera shit. This is exactly how the fuck it is. It's nothing that we have to put on. This is exactly what it is. So and like I said, um, YouTube is the reason why we came together, yes. But it was the making of a real friendship. It was. It is actually. It was the making of a real friendship. We do have a real friendship. We have never not been friends.
Child, despite what Lipstick Alley says, child.
We have never not been
You know
friends.
what's weird? And this is a venture. And I don't know if it's weird that whenever like two people, especially like two gay people get together, because you will be surprised. Like there's been rumors that me and Scotty had fallen out. There have been rumors for a long time that me and Maddie had fell out.
Yeah,
Like,
we fell out because of you and Maddie.
and then it's like, why
Because
is it that y'all can't? It's just so impossible. I feel like they don't even go based off of like actual evidence and research. Like they just feel like they just can join their own conclusions off of who knows what the fuck, and without getting an actual resource. Because I'm like, the things that I see on Lipstick Alley about me are ridiculous. I'm like, girl, it doesn't take much for you to just go into my DM and ask.
They don't. I never really seen them go in on you, but me, whoa.
Oh well, see, they went in on you just because I like when it came to like me and like the Ghetto View at the time and like Pretty PR Chick, like we're smaller channels, so like it's very minimal. But when I did see it, people tried at the time to like when the second blackout came, like in back in 2016, and I was serving what I was serving. People tried to come for my ability to paint a face.
I didn't know that though. But see, that's crazy. But to be honest, I'm not necessarily mad at it. Honestly, like it is what it is. Like we are YouTube vloggers. People are going to talk about us, so we're not
Ciao.
ourselves to the public. They're going to talk about us. So I'm learning taking it to stride. Some shit that I've seen on there is not fucking true. Some shit is just like okay, it's an assumption, but it is what it is. But I do take some things that they say into stride. You know what I mean? Like you know, it's not that serious. Like it's just criticism. Some shit have it made me think about my videos. Like they was talking about me having a white beater on all my videos. I'm like, maybe I need to put on some fucking clothes. Like maybe, it's not always a bad thing when they criticize you. As harsh as it can be, it's not always a bad thing. I
And
can
this
be
is
honest.
it's just like people are allowed to do other things.
Yeah.
People are, it's like Aniko mentioned and said that it was assumed that Jamar had replaced Maddie with Scotty just because they were physically together doing drag race videos. Me and Maddie did Drag Race videos for about 3 years straight,
I don't even
like
watch that.
consistently. And the thing is, me and Maddie connected on Drag Race initially, and so we decided to collaborate. It went well, so we kept doing it,
Right.
and there's
What
nothing wrong with that.
what did
And
I
me and
do with
Scotty have been friends years before that. And so if later down the line, if we want to switch shit up and do other things, we should be able to do that without it being like, oh, you betrayed this person or oh, you're replacing this person. It's just like, girl,
and I don't even like Drag Race, so it's like
you don't give a fuck about
what
drag.
can I add to the conversation? What can I add to the conversation? Not a goddamn thing.
I don't give a fuck. That's why I'm just like, it was very strange
It was.
how
And the
Maddie
fact
would come to me with these.
but the fact that we had just talked the day before I saw that post, that was the funny thing. I'm like, Jamar, we got beef just talked yesterday.
If
But
we did,
anyway,
I didn't know.
right. But anyway, we're about to go because we're going on 3 hours. So we're about to go. This was a very good episode of Prelude. I really enjoyed this episode.
Woo!
We're gonna
I hope
try.
y'all got into it.
I know, but we're gonna try. We always say we're gonna try to go live every week or bi-weekly. Next week we don't. We never know what days. We always figure it out as we go along. So if we go live next week, y'all will know. We will talk. Me and Jamar will talk about it. We'll probably know by. We always figure it out by the weekend because that's when my schedule comes. So when we find out when my schedule we come together, we talk about it, and then we pick a day, and then that's when I go and promote it, and he does too. So just know that we will continue to do these. Okay. So and I'm so
Until the goddamn podcast decides to come into actual fruition. Amen.
amen. Okay. So we're about to get on up out of here. We enjoyed you guys tonight. This was a very therapeutic conversation for us. And shout out to Aaliyah, who's not here at this
Oh,
point.
before we go, I do want to say this. I don't know if we agreed to do this or not, but June the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, G Status ATL season 2 starts, and we will be discussing her. So if you have not watched the YouTube LGBT, the Black LGBT YouTube series G Status ATL, I'm gonna need you to get into it. Season 1 is on YouTube. Check it out. Catch up on tea because season 2, me and Scotty will be dishing out the tea because the whole time I was watching that season, Scotty, what was I doing?
Texting my phone. And to be honest, yes, Bitch TV is in here. Hell, Jamar just might be on one of those on one of our Justice League panels talking about it because all of us on that panel will be reviewing the show. So it might not just it may just be all of us talking about it. Hell, it's gonna be a good thing. But we're about to go ahead and close this out. Get your titties out the camera. But we're about to go ahead and close this out. Um, we gonna talk. What the hell you doing?
Child, my thing done completely done got discombobulated, child. But I know, goddamn it, I was gonna show this goddamn body, child.
Oh my God. But yes, she's showing her goods off. And we're about to sign off here. Let me take this head off. Um, we'll talk to y'all next week sometime. And that's the end of it, y'all. So holla at y'all later.